Hello there folks, and welcome back to the Chap's Guide. Now today, something of a follow-up video. Quite recently I did a review video on this little product here. It's the Floris No. 89 Gentleman's Fragrance from Floris in London. And in that video I talked about the benefits and the joys of using that fragrance. It's absolutely one of my favourites. But in addition, in the process of doing that review, I went ahead and I purchased some shaving soap from Floris. And this is their luxury No. 89 shaving soap. Apparently it's triple milled, whatever that means for soap. And I'm not a big user of soap actually. I tend to use creams because they build that wonderful luxuriant lather that we all crave and love in the wet shaving community. So today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try that soap for the first time ever. Never used it before. It's brand new. Just as you can see, it's a small sort of puck which comes inside that little lovely, I think it's walnut bowl, which there we go, and it's got a nice little top on it as well. You can buy the refills for that, so it looks nice on the bathroom shelf wherever you keep your stuff. But it's my first time using it at all, so it'll be interesting. So what else am I going to use today? Well, for the steel, I'm using my oldest safety razor, and that is a Parker 99R. I've had that for years and years. It's a simple butterfly opening Parker razor made in India, and inside it I have a Feathers razor blade. So good old Feathers blade, ferociously sharp, but works well with that mild razor. Gives you a lovely shave. And there we go. And the brush I'm going to use today, it's a Taylor's of Old Bond Street Badger brush, so one of my favourites. So I'm just going to crack on and shave, and perhaps we'll have a chat as we go along. So as always, the best way, I'm just going to wet my face a little with some water just before I, well actually no, tell you what, I'm going to build the lather first before I wet my face. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So I should have actually steeped the brush in the water for a bit longer, shouldn't I, really? But I didn't take that opportunity. So dampened my brush, flicked it off so it's not too wet, and let's just work some of that soap onto the brush. Just get it lathered up, and we'll see how it goes across. Well, it's quite nice, it blooms rather nicely. So I've got myself my little enamel bowl here, which I use as a shaving bowl. I've got some soap on the end of that brush, and let's give it a good old scooch around. See what it looks like. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What qualities is it imparting? Because what I didn't tell you is that puck of soap, if you were to buy that from Floris in London, in that container, that walnut container, £35. £35. So this is top-end luxury. I've never paid that much for any form of shaving soap before. I can assure you I probably never will again. But it was, and I didn't pay that actually, I paid £30 for it off Amazon. So I got a bit of a knockoff, but still 30 quid for some shaving soap. It has to be pretty damn good, does it not? So it's coming up, it's a good lather. I'm giving it a good old scooch, and yeah, it's come up all right. Not super special, we'll say, but all right. So we'll leave that there for a moment, and I've just dampened my face, so it's ready for that lather. There we go. There we go. Let's grab my towel, and yeah. So let's get going with this soap and see if it's any special. So this way is my mirror. So if you see me looking here, I'm not being impolite. I'm just looking at the mirror. So let's get it on there. So I've got 2 days of stubble on board. And yeah, okay, so alright, the odour, the fragrance of No. 89 is, yeah, it's there, it's reminiscent, you know, it's not overwhelmingly similar to the fragrance. I have been using the fragrance for about 6 months, and actually the fragrance itself is an eau de toilette, and I think as I showed you there, that's about 100 millilitres, and that was £80. So actually, the fragrance, Eau de Toilette, No. 89, not bad, price-wise, in comparison to the soap. But I thought I'd try the range and give it a good test, because I'm very impressed with the fragrance. If you want to, please have a look at the video where I talk about that fragrance. I talk in depth about the history of Floris. It is, you know, a remarkable company, and its history is almost beyond belief. You know, founded in 1730 in London, and still in family ownership, in continuous business in all that period of time, and patronised by the greats and the goods. You know, from Winston Churchill to Marilyn Monroe, Cary Grant, David Niven, all those style heroes, icons, really. Now, what can I tell you about this soap? It's gone on okay. It's not special. It's not jumping off the page saying to me, this is worth 3 times more than I would normally spend, or £10 more than I would normally spend. I do occasionally go 20 quid on some shaving cream, but this one is all right. Nothing special. The fragrance is all right. Nothing special. But let's see how it shaves first, shall we? So I'm just wetting my Parker razor just to warm up the steel, because I've got a little mug here full of hot water, which I've brought with me in a thermos flask out into the great outdoors, where I love to do my shaves. And let's see how it performs, shall we? So let's have a go. There we go. So it's cutting rather well. First use on this feather blade, so it's nice and sharp. Not used this actual razor for some time. Been trying a few other ones lately. Recently, not long, bought one of these new Gillette, or King C Gillette double-edged razors. Pretty good. Not superhuman, but you know, for the price. This Parker was the razor which brought me back into the double-edged shaving world probably 10 years ago. Didn't pay a lot for it. I see they're only about £20 still, 22, 23 pounds today. Good, solid, all-rounder, mild razor, mild shave, and you know, it's never let me down. Not bad. As far as the soap goes, it's not screaming at me it's some sort of fantastic superhuman thing. I mean, if I'm being entirely honest, at the moment I'm having a bit of a thing with George Trumper, or Geo Trumper's cream. Quite like that. Having a bit of a love affair with the English leather, to be honest. I'm really enjoying the fragrance of that. And actually, I think I would prefer that to this. If I'm being brutal, this isn't bad, but it's not better than that. There's little doubt in my mind over that. But it's shaving okay, and it's nice to reconnect with this Parker razor. A nice brand new feathers blade in there. Now, one of the attractions with Floris, aside from its long history, is the connection it has with James Bond, of course. And they market the Floris No. 89, this particular fragrance that I'm using on this soap today, with the sort of title, James Bond's fragrance. Which is interesting, because actually Ian Fleming used No. 89. He was a customer of Floris, who've long made shaving products alongside their fragrance business, and he was a customer, and he used Floris No. 89. No. 89, incidentally, for those who are interested, who haven't seen my video on it, named that because that's the number of the shop where the business is set up. So it's number 89 Jermyn Street in London, and that's why it's called 89. And if you're ever in that part of the world, it is worth paying a visit there. It's a beautiful wood panelled interior, and you can go in, it's very comfortable, you can take your time, you don't feel pressured by the people in there. And there we go, that was the first pass. It was okay. It was okay. Nothing special. I wouldn't run down the street and say it was better than anything else. So I'll just get a bit more life going on my soap again, and reapply, ready for the second pass. Right, I'll just add a bit more water to my face. because I find that soap a little, I don't know, drier. Perhaps it's the weather. It's a hot day in the UK here for once. So let's get that on there. Ooh dear. It's a little bit weak on the second pass, I do say. I do you know what? I'm going to just get a bit more water on my brush, get a bit more soap on there. There simply wasn't enough life left in that bit of lather that I got first time to get a second lathering. So I'm just going to get a bit more in my bowl, get a bit more of a lather going there. Don't normally have to do that with cream, do you? Not at all. So let's get it on the skin. Oh, there you go, that's a bit better. And a bit more on the brush. And let's get that applied. Get the job done. Now Floris, as I say, Bond's fragrance. James Bond never endorsed Floris No. 89 in any literary work by Ian Fleming. There were 2 references to Floris in Bond books on, I think it was Moonraker, and in, what was the other one? Diamonds Are Forever, where they make reference to Floris products, but there is no mention of Bond using a Floris aftershave. So they're kind of, you know, pushing the boundaries of marketing by suggesting it's Bond's fragrance. What it was is Ian Fleming's fragrance. But it's a nice fragrance, and I really like it, and I'll talk about that in a moment when I put it on the face. But testing the soap, I mean, the soap is a pleasure, you know, once you get it going. It takes a bit more work than the cream, but we're there now, and it feels good. So, done the first pass, just going to quickly do a second pass, going across the grain on the top side of my face. Hear those bristles parting company with the jaw, which is what I like. And yeah, shaves a bit like anything else really. I think a lot is made of these different shaving products. Ultimately, you know, you can shave with a bar of soap, can't you? You can shave with a bar of soap that costs 50 pence from the shop. It is merely the fragrance and this marketing which makes people pay 30 quid for essentially a fancy bar of soap. Well, there we go. I've done it, so you don't have to. So now you know. I'm going to reserve judgment to the end, but at the moment, I don't imagine I will be repatronising Floris for another bar of that soap. It's just not special enough when you think about what you can get in the cream world. So, just going to do a quick against the grain, under the jawline. I have to say, it's coming off rather nicely. Shaving good. No complaints there today. I'm not being too aggressive under the jawline today in my second pass because I did have a little bit of irritation recently. I think I got a bit close and had a bit of a breakout, a couple of little pimples and the like. And I don't fancy that again. So I'm shaving a bit gingerly under there right now. There we go. Not a bad shave actually. It shaves okay. The fragrance, to be honest, has tapered off now after the initial sort of burst of it when you add water to it and get that lather going. Certainly don't get the sense of the fragrance as you would perhaps, you know, well, I've talked about English Leather by George Trumper. You get really a sense of that. It's I wouldn't say assaults the nose, but you know you've got it on. This one, very subtle fragrance, doesn't really do that. So there we go, 2 passes, no nicks, everything looking good. So just gonna put some water on the face, wash off any of that excess lather. Go. That's it, all good. It shaved okay. It shaved okay. So what am I going to apply now? Well, right now, I say I've had a bit of irritation, so I'm going to use some witch hazel. I'm using Humphrey's, let's have a look, citrus witch hazel today. Been using this for a little while. Not bad. It's a face toner as well, so it's a good anti-stringent, or astringent I should say, anti-inflammatory, anti-sort of anti-infection. So I just give myself a good little scooch over with that. Good for the skin anyway, keeps the oil down, and make sure that any pores, any nicks you have are protected when you use that. There we go. Let that just soak in, do its thing. Happy with that. And yeah, it's nice, it's good stuff. Now, moving on. Having used the Floris No. 89 shaving soap, which I have to say I wasn't overly impressed with, I'm going to move on to something which I am incredibly impressed with because I've been using it for a while, and that's the Floris No. 89 Eau de Toilette, so fragrance, cologne, whatever you want to call it. And Eau de Toilette, you know, it's probably third in the tier of potency when it comes to men's fragrance. You know, it's above sort of aftershave and eau de cologne. So you have eau de toilette, then eau de parfum and parfum, so we're right in the middle. It's got a fairly decent potency, and this particular one will last for, oh, I don't know, on the skin probably actively for about 4 to 6 hours, and then if you sort of refresh it later on, you know, by dabbing a bit of water on your face or whatever, it comes to life a second time for me. It's not overwhelmingly unpleasant or super pungent, it's just a pleasant fragrance, and I'm going to apply it right now. Even though this is a squirty bottle one, I'm just going to apply it into the hand and apply it as I would an aftershave. And oh, it's a lovely citrusy woody fragrance on the 89. It's very distinctive, and I've described it previously in the video I did earlier, was quintessentially British, and I think that is the best I can say. It reminds me of, you know, heritage and tradition and old-fashioned values. It's got wood, it's got some citrus in there. It's described as having fragrance of lavender and bergamot in the sort of the top notes, and then it dies off into a woody fragrance, and I go along with that. Ever so slightly floral, bit of citrus, but then again an undertone of cedarwood, sandalwood, and I really like that. I like the two sort of families of fragrance I like tend to be citrusy. I like bergamot and limey type fragrances, and then I really like woody, leathery smells. So combine them together and you've got a product which is pretty good actually. So there we go. I've used the witch hazel, I've used the eau de toilette, and to finish off, and for the benefit of my skin, having gone quite expensive on my fragrance and my shaving soap, I'm going quite cheap, and I'm just using normal Nivea for Men rehydrating moisturizer, and I've used this one a few times. Really inexpensive. Bought it the other day for £2 on a deal somewhere, on a sale. Been using it because it's summer here and trying to protect the skin. I'm moisturizing twice a day because I'm getting an old man now. I've got, you know, I'm in my 50s just, so I'm trying to protect the skin and moisturizing far more than I ever did when I should have when I was a young man. So there we go. I'm replacing some of those oils and fragrances, oils that I scraped off the skin with the blade, and also I'm locking in that fragrance from the Eau de Toilette, the number 89, by sealing it in with that lovely moisturizer. And there we go. I've had a great shave in a great location on a lovely day. My final assessment of the number 89 shaving soap is, chaps, save your money. For £35, that is a lot of money. You could have two very nice tubs of shaving cream from George Trumpers, from Taylor of Old Bond Street, and they truly are as good as you can get. I mean, I've yet to find a shaving cream which betters those, be it in soap form or tube form. Shaving cream, you know, from either of those locations, you won't go far wrong. Half the price of this, and a better performer. This is okay. It'll be a novelty product that I'll use from time to time because of its, you know, association with Floris, but really and truly, not something I'll be buying again, I don't think, based on its performance as a shaving soap and the fragrance that it has emitted, which is, I guess, what it's all about, really. It's so subtle, couldn't even tell it was there. But, you know, because I'm layering it with its sort of father fragrance, the Eau de Toilette, you know, it makes me feel as if I'm connecting with it in that respect, but shan't be trying that one again. Anyway, thanks for joining me today for my outdoor shave of the day here in my country area. It's been nice to see you. I hope you take care of yourselves. I hope you're all doing well, being stylish and having great shaves, and I'll see you again soon in the next Chap Guides video. Until then, all the best.